Yeah, obviously, Indian tennis is doing some good things. We've got some good, exciting talent that's coming through. Um, there's good positive energy, in Indian tennis right now. And while we may not have a superstar right now, but I think the overall standards of Indian tennis have definitely improved, and we are slowly but surely working or going towards the right path, and now we need to focus on how we can accelerate on that path. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's the way the media generally projects it. Of course, having a superstar always has its benefits in growing a sport in the country. But well, the Indian Billie Jean King Cup team last year qualified for the World Group playoffs without a superstar. So what does that tell you? That they are growing, they are getting better. Now, we have two options. We can either keep focusing on the lack of superstar, or we can focus our energies on developing what we have. I choose to focus on developing what we have rather than sitting on the sidelines and saying, oh, we don't have a superstar, because that doesn't grow the sport either. Negativity never grows a sport. So if we want to grow the sport in India, we have to cherish the wins that our players are coming up with, small, big, whatever it may be. That's how you develop a sport, when there's positive energy flowing in that sport. I mean, there's no point in us sitting and always saying, oh, we don't have a superstar. Why don't we ever say that, last year there were 5 women ranked in the top 500 of the world? Never happened in women's tennis in India. Is that not an achievement?
But taking from there, but nobody in the top 100.
That's okay. Again, Dada, everybody wants to live in a penthouse, but nobody wants to build 25 floors before you reach the penthouse. We're in the process of building those 25 floors. So why do we keep talking about the penthouse? We'll get to the penthouse, but first our foundation has to become solid. We need to right now aim, how can we get more people ranked in the world? How can we push the people who are ranked 1500 in the world, how can we push them to top 1000? The guys who are top 1000, how do we push them to 500? 500, how do we push them to 250? 250, how do we push them to 150? How do we get people in Grand Slams?
Exactly.
That has to be.
I was about to come.
That has to be our focus. Our focus right now cannot be, why do we not have a Grand Slam champion? Let's see, can we get 5 or 10 Indian men, 5 or 10 Indian women in the Grand Slams, be it in the qualifying, be it in main draw. Let's build from there. So, in my opinion, I would rather focus on getting people to the Grand Slam right now than sit on the sidelines and say, well, we don't have a Grand Slam champion.
Yes, yes.
Well, don't forget, Leander Paes won a singles bronze medal at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We've had Somdev who's cracked top 100. We've had Sumit who's cracked top 100. Now, the idea is, how do we get more people to crack the top 100, right? For that, we need to make sure we're attracting better athletic talent to the game of tennis. We have to make sure that we are supporting not 1 or 2 players, but a pool of 100, 200 players, and let the cream rise to the top. We have to do all these things. I mean, so far we're just thinking and we're just talking about, no one in top 100. Yeah, okay, why is there no one in top 100? So if we look at other countries, some countries are hosting 45, 50 international tournaments a year to help support their players. We do what, 10, 12 maybe? So the players are asking, where's the support? Why do we not have enough opportunities in this country? Again, please understand, majority of the players who are right now trying to pursue professional tennis are not from wealthy families. They don't have the means to travel for 25, 30 tournaments abroad. Very few have them. Now, unless we don't bring those opportunities to a wider pool of players, how will we help, the raw talent to emerge? Because let's face it, the people with the means don't have the hunger, and the people with the hunger don't have the means. Well, he's a very good prospect. He's matured very well in the American collegiate system. He's got a huge serve, big game. So now it's a question of him staying physically and mentally healthy and being on his journey and having that hunger in him to keep rising in the world rankings. Whether he's going to be a superstar or not, I can't tell you right now, but he's definitely doing well. He's doing all the right things, and I really hope for for him and for Indian tennis that he does something really good. Look, when it comes to fitness, you have to look at genetics also, what his genetics are. You know, so
His doctor parents.
that doesn't matter. You know, what are his genetics? You know, you can't, I mean, you can't compare an elephant with a cheetah, and you can't compare a cheetah with a horse. So you got to figure out what are his genetics, how does his team keep him healthy, keep him fit, how do they take care of his body? All these things matter.
He's a good prospect in
Absolutely, absolutely.
for India.
He's doing well. Now his collegiate career is over, and now he's going to come into the grind of the professional circuit. So, you know, we can only hope that he continues to do well what he did in the collegiate circuit, and in the professional circuit he keeps rising up in the world rankings. I mean, you see his ranking is right now 400 something, but that's only because he hasn't played enough professional tournaments. So we hope that he can play more professional tournaments and, you know, really rise up in the world rankings. He broke into the top 100. That's a great achievement. Why are we trying to undermine that? You know, he broke into it. Okay, fine. I mean, he's doing the best he can do. He's fighting as hard as he possibly can. And we need to look at that. We need to look at it from a perspective that, listen, Sumit Nagal broke top 100. It gives hope to more players that even you can break top 100 if you work hard and if you do the things correctly.
Average physique. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the tallest guy, right? You
Not
won't
the
even,
strongest as well.
he's not the strongest guy also, but he's done something good. So let's appreciate that for what it is, rather than trying to say, well, he only got to 73 or so.
Because
But
he's the greatest
in my
footballer in the
opinion, the most important factor in tennis is speed,
Speed.
not so much power.
Not so much.
Yeah, because if you can't get to the ball, then what good is your power, right? So for me, the most important factor that we need to look at young athletes, do they have speed? Can they chase balls down? Look at Sinner. He's one thin, lanky boy,
Yeah.
but he runs down everything. So modern day tennis has changed. You don't have to be buff. You have to be a lean, mean fighting machine. Yeah, he's a good young prospect. Again, he's working hard. He's doing the best he can do. And we just have to, again, watch these boys develop and see how we can help or support them in their journey. And yeah, and hopefully if he stays healthy and if he does the right things and gets the right guidance, yeah, we should see him do some good things also. Well, she's been out of action for almost 6-8 months right now. So we'll have to really sit and watch, you know, how she comes out of it, how she comes back from the, you know,
What is the latest on her injury?
I don't know. I don't have an update on that right now. But we'll have to see how she does that, how she comes back. Obviously, she has a very big game, and you know, she's had some big wins. You know, she's beaten Lana Tarudi twice quite easily, and Lana is right now second round Wimbledon. So obviously, the talent is there now, but talent alone cannot take you there. There are a lot of other things that have to come into play for you to, you know, find that kind of success. It comes in the way of many players, probably not in the way of Srivalli's. She's got different challenges, but yeah, funding for most players is a big challenge. Yeah, good developing junior, very good junior who's doing well. I mean, I would just urge people, you know, don't put pressure on her to become something great. Let her just evolve, let her grow in her journey. Let's again try and figure out how we can support her. And one of the ways I feel we can support her is by not putting pressure on her to become this big superstar. Let her evolve in her journey, help her grow. Well, she can definitely be a very good player. You know, she can definitely become top 100 in the world going forward. But then again, getting there is
They're saying top 50.
People can say whatever they want to say. You know, it just how can you see the future? How can you predict the future? I only hope she continues to work hard. She continues to grow in her journey, and you know, she keeps that hunger and fire alive in her, which will help her probably get to 100 or top 50 in the world. I don't know if she'll get there or not. I surely hope she does, but it's a long way away right now. Well, you know, okay, she is developing into a good athlete. She's obviously learning the ropes quite well. Now she's what, top 20 in the world in juniors, which is a good sign, which means she's doing well in her age category and stuff like that. Again, going forward, you know, professional tennis is very brutal, because by the time you get to professional tennis, you'll come across players who were nobody in junior tennis and are doing phenomenally well now. So you just have to focus on your journey. You have to, you know, you have to have a good team around you, good people guiding you, but more importantly, you have to keep the fire, the hunger alive in you. So if she does that, she's obviously a good prospect. I think that was, in my opinion, I think that's a decision that went against his career, him moving to Nadal's academy, because I think that's where he went and got a little lost. Again, I have repeatedly said it and I will say it again, just because you train in Europe, just because you train at a big academy, doesn't guarantee you success. Because often the Indian kids are neglected. We are just money bags. We are neglected. We need to create a system. Yeah, that's okay. That doesn't make you become a success story on a tennis court, right? Does it? I mean, I've said that, look, millions and millions of, or hundreds and thousands of kids go to Europe to train. How many actually make it out from there? Why do we not look at that? You know, I've often seen people complaining about coaching standards in India or coaches in India. Why don't you complain about the European coaches? How many people go there? How many people become successful coming out of there? You understand? So, for me, you need to create a system where if your kids are going abroad to train, somebody from India has to go, sit on top of their head and say, do the work. I want accountability. I want results. You know, but very often in India, you'll see parents are just too happy sending kids to these big academies where they get lost. Because, I mean, in my opinion, again, these are all my opinions. I'm not really casting aspersions on anyone as such, but if you send a kid to Spain, would they be working on Juan Pablo or would they be working on Adil Kalyanpur? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. So, why don't we call that out? Why are we so obsessed with sending kids to Europe all the time, send them to Europe, training? How many kids make it out of there? There are such good quality Indian coaches in India. You won't give them that respect. Why not? You won't trust them. Why not? Well, why do you think something went wrong with Somdev and with Yuki? Why do you say that? Why? What?
Because we had much more expectations than the achievement.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I do understand. Team-wise, they won Commonwealth Games. They won.
That's okay.
But for India, they played very well. But when it comes to ATP tournaments,
but Somdev got to what, top 70 in the world?
Yes, once. Yeah.
Why? We need to celebrate that. We don't need to sit here and say, why did he only reach 70? People in this country need to understand how tough it is to be even top 500 in the world. It's not very easy.
How about winning an ATP title? That is important.
That's okay. He did the best he could do with what he had. He got as high as he possibly could. We need to celebrate that. We need to help, we need to say, okay, you know what? How do we get more people there? Not why he didn't go to top 50. That's the wrong conversation to have. The right conversation to have is, hey, you got there. Okay, how can we help others get there too? Now, if today we're sitting here and saying, well, Somdev only got to 60 something and Sumit only got to 70 something, okay, even if they did it once or twice, that still is a step in the right direction. Okay, so Sumit,
more talent than only reaching.
Okay, fine. Sumit got to Sumit got to US Open, right? He played Roger Federer.
Yeah.
You think he's going to win that match? All right. So are you going to fault him for not going past that round?
Not really.
So draw. Yes, absolutely. So draws. Yes. Yeah. So who you play, draws matter. Who you play, what round you've played them in, all these things matter.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Somdev goes to a French Open and has to play Nadal in the first round or the second round, you think he's going to get past that? The answer is no. But then now should you fault him for only getting to the first round or the second round? No. I'm saying what these guys achieved, we need to celebrate that, we need to learn from that, and we need to help the generations coming through that how can you get there too? Let's try and figure that out. Well, I mean, unfortunately, he had elbow and knee issues, which forced him to stop playing singles, and now he's focusing on doubles. But for his journey, he made the smart decision to do so. And yeah, and he's doing quite well. He's top 100 in the world. I think he's top 50 in the world right now. Great. Work hard. More power to you. Continue and try and rise higher. No, that's not true, because there could be so many factors that could be going into someone's decision like that. It could be an injury. And more often than not, it's an injury which has curtailed your your singles career. Now, would I rather that a Leander Paes or a Mahesh Bhupathi or a Sania Mirza stop playing tennis totally because they're not playing singles, or do I rather let them go and win Grand Slams and doubles for us? I'd rather they win Grand Slams. So, of course, everybody wants to be the best in singles, but as you go along in your life, in your career, you have to reevaluate where you are in your journey. Right? Now, if you can find success in doubles, why not? What's wrong with that? It just brings good news and cheer to Indian tennis. So, if you do well in doubles, great. Yeah, absolutely agree with that. The domestic circuit has to be revamped. We have to look at things differently. Look, till the time we don't show to the people of India that playing tennis is a viable profession for your child, where your child can actually earn a living playing, we will not attract the best athletic talent towards tennis. For us to find success at an international stage, we need to attract better athletic talent, right? For that, do we have to revamp our domestic circuit? Yeah, absolutely. We have to look at giving more players opportunities where they can earn a livelihood while playing in India, and then use that money to go abroad and play international competitions. Majority of our juniors fall by the wayside after juniors because they don't have the money to play professional tennis. If I can give you a stat, and this is probably not a completely accurate stat, but this was from a few years back. In ITF Junior World Rankings, we had about 136 odd girls ranked in the world, right? But in the professional rankings, we had only 21. Why that major drop off from 18 to professional tennis? Why that major drop off? That's what we need to address. Yes, lack of opportunity for players in India. So when you have to make a transition into start your playing international tournaments, we don't have enough international tournaments in this country. We need to revamp that. We need to look at revamping our domestic circuit. We need to do all this stuff. Well, first and foremost, as per the ruling of the Honorable High Court, the interim committee is in charge right now, and they have to hold fresh elections, and then the committee will be formed. And then we have to look at how, they work, they function, and what they do. And for me, as a former player, I'd rather see how I can support them and help Indian tennis get better. I'm not a guy who likes to sit on the sidelines and criticize people. I'd rather be a part of the solution and help in my way as to how I can contribute to helping Indian tennis grow. Right? So we have, whoever the new committee is, whenever they take full charge and whenever the honorable administrator is not there, we also have to make sure, the stakeholders, that we hold people in power accountable, right? And in my opinion, it's better for us to work with them and help fix the system, the broken system, rather than just continuously fight with each other and then nothing gets fixed. I mean, look, obviously because they're a national federation, they have to look after the interest of India as a country and how India is performing at the world stage, right? But having said that, why are we always looking at AITA to do certain things?
Okay.
Why can't we, as former players or tennis enthusiasts, come together and do things to support the efforts of the AITA? Like, what is stopping us? What is stopping all the former players to get together and, if somebody does 2 international tournaments in their city, someone does 2 international tournaments in their city, two like that, you can do 10-15 tournaments like that. So why do?
It's a great proposal.
So you just take AIT's help to get those tournaments sanctioned, then you do it.
I mean, their name will also sell.
Yes, so why not?
The likes of Leander Pace, Vijay Amrita.
Yeah, please do it.
Krishnan,
Please do it.
right?
Please do it. I've hosted 10 women's world ranking events at this venue that we're sitting at the Tennis Project, because that's my part of the solution. I'm trying to contribute there. So why do I want to sit here and unnecessarily criticize AITA for everything? I went to the AITA, I said, listen, sanction these tournaments to me. I'll do my bit, whatever I can do. Now, if more people start doing that, then it only benefits Indian tennis, right? Everybody knows what they can do or they cannot do. Everybody knows. And I've been quite vocal about it also, that I want to be a part of the solution. I don't want to sit on the sidelines and just critique AITA, critique X, critique Y, We need a lot of support. We all need to come together. We all need to sit together, brainstorm together, and figure out how we can do things collectively as a community to grow the sport in this country. Well, first and foremost, we need to obviously look at a domestic tournament structure also. Absolutely, that is something that we really have to fix. In my opinion, it's not serving us in the right manner. That's one. One of the major important things also has to be that we need to start giving more respect and support to Indian coaches. There are a lot of good Indian coaches out there, and we need to show them that they're valued.
We have an obsession towards foreign coaches.
Yes, of course we have an obsession towards foreign coaches. And the funny part is, nobody sits and criticizes them, but everybody sits and criticizes Indian coaches. Why? So we need to bring more respect to the coaching profession also, right? Fourth, and which I think is a very big part, we need to counsel the parents on how to become good tennis parents. We are losing a very big trick right there, right? Just because you watch things on YouTube doesn't make you a good coach.
There is too much parenting.
There is
too much coaching.
Yeah,
in the name of
of course, there's too much of that. There's too much of that. Just because, you know, I know how to brush my teeth twice a day to keep my teeth healthy doesn't make me a dentist.
Yeah.
So just because you see tennis on TV doesn't make you an expert on tennis. You've got to understand the intricacies of the sport. You've got to understand the finer nuances of the sport. You've got to understand how to pay attention to detail. And while parents come from a very good space in their heart, they want the best for their child, as every parent does. But you've got to understand, you've got to be a parent. Don't try and become a tennis coach.
Yeah.
So a lot of the kids are getting frustrated in their journey because there's too much parental pressure. So I think we need to make a concerted effort to try and educate the parents on how they can become good tennis parents and help their child grow in their journey, right? Then lastly, we've got to identify better athletic talent to tennis.
Scouting.
Yes, I mean tennis is a game of speed. Somdev got to top 70 in the world, top 75 in the world. Speed was his biggest factor. If you look at Leander,
Athletic.
incredible speed.
Incredible.
So we need to identify talent where speed is a big factor for them. So we need to do these few things, and then of course we need to educate the people of this country in terms of how they can support tennis as a sport. You know, everybody wants to blame either the federation or the government for lack of support, but I want to put a different point of view. Why can't more corporates come together and support Indian tennis? It is an Olympic sport. It's a sport which is traditionally done well for India, right? And now when the stakes are getting higher world over, we need to up the ante also. Why?
We have produced superstars.
Yes, we have, without any support. Right now, if we can just, you know, get the right support going in tennis, 10 years down the road, you'll start seeing that the whole picture of Indian tennis is totally different. So we need to work on these things. I'd rather look at my glass as half full than look at it as half empty. I'd rather see the positive side of things and build and grow than always sit on the sidelines and just critique.